we start with round table number 1. So the round table number 1 is the voice of innovators. We have with us, and I ask you to switch on the camera, those innovators: José Antonio Lacal, Eduardo Costa, Yuri Budik, and Eduardo Aparicio. All of them, they are innovators in a mature scale. So they are already in tier L above 7, and they are in the market to more or less extent. So they are going to explain us their feelings, their vision, their experience through the process. But first of all, let's invite each one of them for 1 minute, 1 minute and a half, 2, of presentation. Let's start with Eduardo Costa, co-founder and executive general manager at Steven in Portugal. Eduardo.
Hello, Daniel.
Yeah, the floor is yours for 1 to 2 minutes presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I wanted to thank you to the organization for the invitation. It's really a pleasure. So, Steven develops and explores these 2 units that you are seeing in this slide right now. The one on the left is our most innovative product, which is a small scale and low temperature cogeneration unit based on the Rankine cycle. So this unit produces electricity from a stream of hot water, for instance. This is very innovative because there is no much competition or any competition in the scales that we are working in terms of low temperature of the heat source, and also the scale of the electricity that is produced. On the right side, we have our biomass boiler. We have a range of biomass boilers from 150 kilowatts to 500 kilowatts. And with these 2 combined, we present to the market a unique solution for small-scale, centralized heat and power production systems. So if you don't mind, Daniel, to the next slide. Thank you. So this is our proposal for a certain type of clients that we are working a lot lately. So if you have constant thermal needs at a certain temperature, like a swimming pool that needs to keep the water warm at about 30 degrees, instead of doing it with a regular boiler, because that's the state of the art currently, you can use any boiler, preferably our boiler, to produce hot water and use that hot water not directly in the pool, but first in our RC, on our cogeneration device. So this device will supply the hot water at the right temperature to the process, and in the meantime, it will produce electrical energy. So this means much higher efficiency on the primary uses of energy. And if that primary energy is renewable, like biomass, we have a very good virtuous cycle. I don't know if I expanded my minute, Daniel.
Thank you. You got the 1 minute, almost 2. Thank you. It was great.
Sorry.
So no, it's great. So now, if with us, José Antonio Lacal, who is a director at Biolisa, and also like Eduardo in Steven and José Antonio Lacal in Biolisa, both are cases that we have reported in and analyzed in BioRural. So please, the floor is yours, José Antonio.
Thank you, Danny. Good morning, everybody, and thank you to the BioRural project for inviting me to participate in this training online. Okay, Biolisa is a spin-off of the University of Jaén, where I associated professor from 25, and focused on developing project based on gasification technology. Within the gasification is an opportunity to the placement or to substitute natural gas in some kind of industry. And our main service of engineering and consultancy industrial project development and training, and scientific and technological support. Please, next one. We have developed an integral solution for source industry which want to decarbonization strategic based on biomass gasification. We offer to our customer all the facility, the installation, the preliminary studies, the assembly and startup of all the equipment. It's a EPC project. It's a typical EPC project based on gasification. Gasification is a very interesting solution because it's modular, scalable. He has a medium capex and opex. He has a very high efficiency. We consider very important for using biomass in the rural areas, based on agro-food industry. We have developed our first project in olive oil industry in the province of Jaén. We can supply thermal energy and electrical energy based on the gasification, as you can see in both pictures. The left picture and right picture is the gasifier and all the facility. And in the first industry, we use dry olive pomace for energy production for self-consumption in a rural area, in this case in olive oil industry. And if you can visit the video, you can link in, not now, but in the future. Thank you very much for your attention.
So, good, 2 minutes. That was great. And also we have with us Calpech. So we have with us Judy Budik, which is co-founder and CEO at Calpech. So please go ahead.
Thank you for the nice presentation, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here. Calpech, we are a deep tech spin-off company. We have developed and patented a novelty process in University of Alicante that permit basically transform agricultural waste. In this case, nowadays we are working with olive meal wastewater into iron nanoparticles. Our main competitive advantage in the novelty of this technology, thus it permits us to produce low-cost product, which is up to 20 times lower than nanoparticles from the market. And what it means, it means that we can go to this, we can attest to numerous environmental applications that was unfeasible economically today. It's like a renewable energy production, the contamination of gases, water, and soil, and use them as fertilizers. So another thing that our own process don't produce residue, which is also very positive. And you can see here the nanoparticles market is huge. No, it and has a lot of application. And in the next slide, you can see the first step is to see in what market we can use this potential product, because it has a lot of markets. So we started to validate our product. We made some additive based on iron nanoparticles that basically can improve energy yields of the biogas plants up to 40%, and to resume we eliminate contaminant from biogas. So they are like our first validated application of this, and until today we sold 50 tons of product, and we now are operating in 6 plants, biogas plants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yuri. And next we have Remolonas, Eduardo Aparicio, who is co-founder and chief financial officer. And we had in principle an Italian startup, but it couldn't join. It was interesting on materials. We will try to gather for other purposes in future. But we were lucky to have today the last minute yes from Eduardo Aparicio from Remolonas from Spain. So the floor is yours for 1.5 to 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Always happy to help if it's under our possibilities. Remolonas is a very simple business to understand. We saw that in the food chain there were a lot of inefficiency. So at every step of the food chains, surpluses are produced, and sadly, in most of the cases, turned into waste. So what we do is find these cases, mainly from the producers, and we help them to monetize these surpluses. How do we do that? We buy to them these foods, and we sell it to final customers, home delivery in cases. Is basically what we do. We help to add efficiency to the food supply chain. Obviously, there's a lot of technology involved. It's not just a simple e-commerce. A lot of headaches when you work with groceries and fresh products. Logistics are involved, producers which are way far from technology, and final last mile deliveries. So it's a challenge to optimize the whole of it, and we are trying to do it every day. And in the end, our where we want to be in 1 or a couple of years is to automatize this all surpluses food chain.
Okay, it is, I think, the presentation of Remolonas. So thank you, Eduardo. And then let's go to the questions. The questions are mainly focused on this area because these were initiators from the EU challenges are. They are with ideas in tier L, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably some of them close to the chasm, some others in the early stage of ideation and inspiration of the spiral, but notwithstanding people that will go through the curve in future probably. So, or will stop. And then we have a series of questions for that. You can place here some questions, but I don't know if we will have time. Otherwise, if we find any, we can comment. So I will stop sharing screen, okay, and then we will go to the questions. Then first question, and we will follow the same order as we did. What were the main difficulties found in the beginning? So we start with Eduardo Costa. Let us know when was it, how was it, please, in kind of a 1 minute thing.
Of course. Okay, thank you for the question. Right in the very beginning, the most difficult aspects of our process was access to funding. I guess this problem is common to all the entrepreneurs, I believe. But also building a team and managing it. So this is very important, even nowadays, of course. Our greatest challenges is keeping the team motivated and aligned with our objectives. And about that, another difficulty that we need to keep our mind always on that is steering the development process and keeping all balanced. So our revenue with our investment in R&D. So it's very important to keep everything balanced and steering, making right decisions at the right time.
So funding team that stays, that doesn't change, and also this balance.
Steering, yeah.
Steering. So next is Jose Antonio. Let us know from the beginning, you started, what were these main difficulties?
Yes, in your case is the main difficulty is to introduce a new technology in the market as the first time, because people don't want to innovate. They prefer to use technology know and implementing in the market. it's very difficult to be the first. It's very difficult, and it's very difficult to try to sell knowledge. Knowledge. In our case, it's a EBC, a company based on knowledge, and we will try to to put in the market a new strategic based on knowledge. They can use new technology, new opportunity to decarbonization. It is very, very difficult. More than financing, more from my point of view, the main obstacle we have find is to introduce a new technology in the market, because people are very, very, very conservative and very worry about other question. But the technology or the innovation is very difficult to introduce at the first time in the market. Is our main problem.
So we have captured several ideas, like difficult to introduce, to be the first to introduce a technology that tends to be conservative, to keep on the typical, the as usual, and difficult to sell knowledge and consultancy as well.
Yes.
It's not
in the primary sector, basically
in the primary sector. Yeah, because you are very linked. Then
in the industry, it's different. They only are worried about the figure, the number, the profitability. But in the primary sector, in the agro-food industry, it is very difficult. They are more conservative from my point of view.
Then we have Yuri from Calpets. What is the main difficulties you found till now in this beginning?
I was thinking on that, and the main difficulties is generally is organizational, structural, administrative. When you start the company to do the things good according to the law and state you are operating, basically because of the lack of knowledge to how businesses works, because generally the founders are very technical people. They are good on technical things and research, and sometimes they are not very familiar with administrative things and how business works. But I think the main I would say problem, not it's like in all the companies, is the financing, to find money for your want to do. And sometimes you need to put, because you know what I want to do, you're good at your technology, you know that market will accept it, but sometimes you need to put in one side all your big plans or your business and go to searching financing to execute your business and convince somebody to help you. So in that sense, your first clients will be the investors, and you need to dedicate a lot of time to them to get this financing.
Yeah, your first client, your investor, and the managerial issues, not in the hands, usually on the developers. But it's important to have these managerial abilities, not just the technical ability to build the solution. Then let's go with Eduardo. What is your comment about the main difficulties in the beginning?
I'm quite aligned with my friend Eduardo Costa also, because the main difficulties was first reach out for funding without a product in the market. We raised our first investment round without sales, which was a huge challenge. And then when the project becomes a company, the most difficult matter, I think, is finding the right people to work, because there's a black and white situation now in our, well, not in a country. I think it's a matter of Occident. We find very few people super motivated, and a lot of people that they simply don't want to work. So in a startup with you have to do a lot of different things, very difficult things, and with very limited budget. You need very, very, very skilled people and motivated. So until you're not up there, you can't imagine how difficult is that.
I think Probably Jose Antonio shares the same because I know personally and has undergone also problems with people going, staying and going because they were not so motivated. I don't know about Calpets, probably you share the same. Yeah, okay, then let's go to the second question, financing, alliances, and business management. You start from the beginning, what was more strategic to endure and proceed? Maybe we repeat a little bit, but what is really strategic to endure? But if you think it's something similar, like you said before, you can just stay with the same, and then we go to the third question. So we start with Eduardo again, Eduardo Costa.
Okay, of course. Um,
So not so in the beginning, but in the current status, for
yeah, of
example,
course,
or
of course,
in
of
the.
course. In terms of finance, it was very important to find aligned investors. So investors that really are investors, they're not friends, family, and fools, because an investor in the very early stage company needs to understand that he needs to have some kind of patience for his investment to be fruitful. So this is very important in our experience. It's also very important to find, if you need, synergetic revenue streams, in my opinion. So we spent a lot of years, too much years, only focused on the research and development. And it is very important at some time that we don't depend only on the research and development, because you need to pay bills at the end of the month. And as the processes of research and development are very uncertain, your plans can be quickly be falling apart. So it's not very good to find yourself in that position. And it's very important also to have a very clear and comprehensive path to keep all these things balanced. Again, like I said in my first reply. And finally, regarding business management, you asked about MBA. I don't have an MBA. I would like to have it, but honestly, I feel that I don't have time for that yet. But when my project was on the verge of becoming a company, I took some time to look for formation. So I did some training. I purchased some courses for about half a year to try to train myself as quickly as possible on the areas that my formation hasn't given me in terms of managerial competencies. So my background is engineering, and unfortunately my education doesn't care much about business. That's an error, but I felt that I needed it, and I tried to fill that gap as quickly as possible before my company was a company. Sorry for taking so long.
Yeah, thank you. But it was clear, especially the last statement, the need of formation in business. And let's go next with Jose Antonio. Anything else from what you told? Alliances, business
Yes,
management. Can you,
yes.
what is relevant?
In my experience, we are established from 2014. We have in the market 10 years. Financing is a problem, of course, but from my point of view, it's more important the business model we can take to the market. This is very important. How we translate or innovate idea to the market. It's very important. The why we can communicate, we can translate, we can apply our idea into the market. And for this, it's very important. The cooperation with other companies, because in general, startup usually are small company. We have not very important capacity to develop some kind of project. In our case, the volume of investment is about 1 million or 2 million euro, and we need cooperation with other companies. It's a difficult we can find on the market, but the most important is the business model. We have used three. The project manager is very interesting for the customer. In the case of Aceite Guadalentín, other question is EPC with some companies, because in this case, the benefit is not for us, it's for the other companies. It's a problem. And the third case we are studying is the opening innovation. It's a concept very interesting because we can work with the customer directly from the beginning of the project. And we focus the project as a innovative, a pilot plan or a demo, probably for introducing a new technology in the market. This why would be very interesting. And we have now exploring this alternative.
This is very connected with the issue we told about the customized solutions with the client. So to combine the traditional with the expertise also of the innovator. Then Judy, you can go ahead. So not only the beginning, but if you are repeating ideas, you can just state. But what is strategic to endure?
I will. Yes, in our case, it was a little bit different, no, because each startup is a world. So in our case, we had very clear that we need to go to industrial scale, and it's not very. It's because we was operating in the lab, and there is only two ways to go to scale technology: finding financial resources and or go to alliances. In this sense. We found a company that was very interested in treatment of olive mill wastewater, and then they put the financing. So we could, in 2 years, go to the industrial scale and could validate our product, because the main problem of industrial startups is to need to go step by step. First, you need to escalate your technology, and for that you need a lot of time and money, and then you need to validate your product in some application. If you cannot validate it at industrial scale when you don't have industrial production. So this is the main. So in our case, the strategy was finding alliance to validate and industrialize our process.
A synergy, not just to buy something that is uncertain, but to collaborate because both the industry is also interested in the solution. You mean?
See, we save a lot of time. We avoid finding financing. We avoid to building our own plant. We avoid to hiring people thanks to this alliance.
Mm-hmm. Interesting as well. And I see also Eduardo Costa saying yes. And also, let's go with Eduardo Aparicio. What is important to endure?
I think the most important matter to a startup to get funding is finding the correct path to validate his model. I'm not an example because we raised an investment fund with a product in the market, just validated by the competence in other countries, as the model was working there. But 99% of the investors, they want to see a track record. So as Yuri said, that each startup is completely different to the other one. Some of them are only software from software to an industrial model. There's a huge space where the others are located. So each startup needs to focus on which is the path to validate my model. Is it to raise a very small amount of money among local businessman, or is it to apply to European accelerator programs or local or regional or wherever? They need to see which is the shortest and smoothest way to get there. Don't think too big, think simple. In our case, now as we are selling every day, is easier for us to get to a second investment round if your sales are increasing, of course, month to month. If not, you need to focus on working on that.
Very interesting. And the issue to validate. So even if the model works somewhere else, you need to validate and to take the risk. So nobody is going to, not usually somebody just trust on whatever was working fine in Germany, for example. So then third question, just open question. So in front of you, you have many innovators. Many of them, they are like PhD students. They are maybe workers in the sector of environment or industry that are also widening their capacities through master business or circularity trainings. We have some startups. Maybe we have I have seen some industry also in the room interested in innovation. So just an open council. We start with Eduardo Costa.
Yeah. So this is a recurring question, but I find the answer is quite difficult because, in my opinion, every experience is unique. Every project, every person that is managing the project, everything is unique. So it's not easy to give general advices in that context. But if I dare to do it, I will say that the person who is leading the project needs to be, of course, passionate about what he's doing because he'll facing some challenges and very, very difficult decisions to take. But in the same time, that passionate needs to be, I feel, that needs to be balanced with the conscious of making the right decisions. So don't get our emotions affect the decisions. It's a very general advice, but I think it's a good one. But because in the end of the day, you need to make sure that you make more good decisions than bad ones, because both decisions will happen, good or bad. You need to make sure that you are more putting more on decisions on the good side than on the bad side. And besides from that, I heard a lot of good experiences, a lot of good counsels with my colleagues just now. So I guess this session was very rich for our audience. I hope so, at least. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now is about with Jose Antonio Lacal, an open council advice for.
It's very difficult to give. It's very important to be passing and to the constancy and to believe in your idea. But it's more important to identify the customer and to be clear the business model. I only give a concept for the future entrepreneur is to be patient and constancy. I think and to believe strongly in the idea, and no more question, no more.
Constant patience and don't forget the business model. So Yuri.
I would say do what you love and love what you do. And the people who surrounding you is very important, the team, because at the beginning you don't have, you are nothing, you don't have nothing, you are poor, and the most valuable actives in your company is the people and your know-how. And some practical advice, I would say, because the main objective of the company, which is sell product or service. So don't matter, I learned this, don't matter if your product is not perfect as you expected, because we are very technical people, so when we want perfection, but no, let it go to the market, because finally the market will decide if your product is good or not good. For you, you can see that it's perfect, but the really decider of this is the market.
It happens. You think the product is well tailored, and then finally the market is giving you the answer sometimes, and you get something that is not expected. Yeah, good advice. And then we go with Eduardo Aparicio from Remolonas. Open advice.
Nothing is easy. Nothing. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you're told. Nothing is easy. And put a company on the market is one of the most difficult stuff that you're going to face in your life. So think very well if you are ready to pay that price, because we always and must see only the upscale of any project. But as a professional investor, if you want to succeed, you always have to think if you are ready to pay the price for the worst case scenario. If you are, go ahead with all. Okay.
Wise, really, as well. Um, so I think with this, because we are on time, I don't go for a last potential question. I have seen one question saying, why a startup? And we're talking because also what is intent of this webinar is to tell people who has an idea and is thinking how to put into circulation, to convey, to develop, to put in a market, or to find a potential customer who helps to co-develop. So we are not like inside the big industry, let's say the people that to whom is focused this webinar. But also is real that whenever you have a big company behind, then there are some startups which have grown, or some ideas with a big company behind that also solves a lot of problems with the initial sales, with the development, and so on. Not so much independent as maybe we have seen the examples here. So thank you all, Eduardo Costa, Eduardo Aparicio. Thank you, Yuri, and thank you, Jose Antonio.